What is going on, everybody? Welcome to MLB Live Before Lock. It is July 23rd, 2024. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bells as we get started. Goes a long way for all of us here on this channel. We got Jordan Klein riding sidecar, doing all of the producing things. The best producer in the game, named Jordan Klein, bar none. If I could get his name right, that would help. He's my friend, I promise. I'm not kidding. But anyway, Matt Belman is also my friend, and I'm excited to be doing a show with him for the first time in a very long time. You can follow him and find him at Fantasy Tips Matt over on X. How you doing, my dude?
Better now that I'm doing a show with you. It's
no
been
kidding.
a minute.
What an upgrade.
Yeah, it's definitely been a minute, but as soon as I got offered the chance to do the show, I jumped at it. Excited to break down the slate with you. Unfortunately, weather concerns and, probably the most important spot on the slate, and that just stinks.
Yeah, the most important spot, bar none. It is one that I'm hoping we get some clarity. I mean, if this game starts, I'm going to be absolutely terrified. If it doesn't start, I'm pretty positive that they're going to run into some issues. It looks like there's just rain everywhere in Atlanta. Obviously, we're talking about Hot Atlanta, the most important starting pitcher on the slate, the most popular play on the slate, Chris Sale. Just got an update from a number of different weather sources. We all know those weather sources, but I'm looking across the landscape here, looking at radar, and I mean, nothing about this is enticing. Nothing about this is good, but it allows for us to be paying attention to news. And anytime that it comes down to news and being by your computer, it feels more like NBA, where it's like, well, I'm going to have a more pronounced edge than I would other nights. So it kind of works in both ways. I'm just terrified if this game starts on time. Wouldn't you agree that's like the worst case scenario?
Man, I don't know. You said that if the game starts on time, you'd be horrified.
Yes.
But then you didn't really say how you'd feel if the game doesn't start on time. And for me, I'd be even more horrified because, if they start it, there's always the chance they're just going to play through whatever. If they don't start it, there's not. It's not, to me, like one of those situations where it's a clear, they should late start it and then they'll play. It looks murky no matter what. And in those situations, I'd rather just have them start it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I do, but also I don't. I mean, for me, it's more of like if this game starts clean and I have no Chris Sale exposure because I'm expecting something to happen, and then the dude who's projected with 7.5 strikeouts juiced majorly towards the over across the entire industry ends up rolling out there, and then knowing that in-game delay could be something to show up, but it could also play clean, and then all of a sudden you are 25 points behind every single lineup in every single competition. Chris Sale, it's a phenomenal spot, and I'm terrified basically of the entire spot.
I thought you meant you were terrified from someone who is going to be owning Sale, not from a
no.
I'd be from a Sale. Yeah, from a Sale fader, I'm much more terrified of it starting. So yeah, exactly what you said then.
That's what I'm getting at. Right now he's in 75% of my lineups. I think this is a good way for us to jump into starting pitching like we always do. I think you got to have some contingency plans because right now in the top pitchers tool, we're talking top 2 percentage around 33%, 40.6% ownership, but I could see that going way down based on a number of different news sources. We're going to get off this show right around 6:50 p.m. Eastern time. I'll be in the premium Discord hanging out like Greg would normally be. I will be keeping you apprised of what I'm going to do with my lineups. I'm playing one big one, playing 20 max, and then I'm just moving along with my life tonight because I just don't want to have too much exposure hosting tonight. I don't want to have too much exposure to this entire spot, but I would want more exposure if this game got called 10 minutes beforehand. So that's kind of the other bummer of this is I don't necessarily get to know exactly the way that this plays out, but I would love to have this game be completely dead with the most important pitcher on it 10 minutes before lock and be able to have all of that dead money in my contests.
Yeah, of course. I mean, same way. It's going to be a sweat no matter what, unless it's just they postpone it shortly after lock. That's the nuts as a Sale fader, right? At 7:21 it's postponed. But other than that, you're not going to know probably until a couple hours from now. But the longer it gets, the more chance there is of a PPD. Yeah, someone who plays minimal lineups, I don't think I can play Sale anymore, and that stinks because I was obviously wanting to play Sale.
You could be looking at a really low owned sale if this game does start on time, or if it late starts, they somehow avoid major rain and major catastrophe there. Something we're going to keep track of here, but we got to talk about the entire slate from an overhead view here with and without Chris Sale, because they're just two drastically different things. I'm going to keep him in for the time being. Pay attention to the news. I'm seeing people in the chat right now who's raining on and off. That's something we'll keep track of. But let's go to the other top end pitchers, because we do have Logan Gilbert, who, if that news comes down 10 minutes before, I might just global swap to Logan Gilbert across like all of those Chris Sale lineups, leave 500 on the table, and then figure it out after it. It's nice that that's an evening game, and it's nice that it works out so easily salary wise, where I think I'll be able to kind of make the moves that I need to. But Garrett Crochet sitting there at 9,800, he's 19% owned, coming off of getting pulled after 26. Yes, 26 pitches, as they have started to limit him potentially to get moved. Also, just to keep his workload down for somebody who is drastically important to this franchise, either wearing their colors or not wearing their colors in order to bring other guys in. I find that to be an interesting one. And then Zach Wheeler, 9,500 against my Minnesota Twins. Luis Heel coming off of a couple of terrible starts, but we do know the strikeout upside's there. Still 21% owned. I mean, what do we do with the rest of this 9 and 10K range with and without Sale?
Man, I'm a huge Zach Wheeler fan, like in real life. I think he's phenomenal. He is phenomenal. It's not even an I think. But he's always been better at home. It's not a good spot on paper. Minnesota is not striking out a lot against right-handed pitching right now. Wheeler has always K's more right-handers than lefties. He's like 32% against righties, 22% against lefties. I think Minnesota has 7 lefties against him. All that being said, like, there's a reason he's higher on the top pitcher tool than like even Gilbert and Crochet and everyone else. So I like Sale significantly more than Wheeler on this slate, but you're getting the discount and no weather concerns. So I might just go from Sale to Wheeler, honestly. There's other cheap guys I like too. We'll get to them. And I do like Gilbert here. Gilbert feels like just an easy, soft play. 10K is pricey for Gilbert, but always prefer these Seattle guys at home, and Angels is a nice matchup. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're great. Perfect ballpark here. 23% K rate against righties for this Angels lineup. You go through it. It always looks nice when you see Anthony Rendon projected up top, because Anthony Rendon is what the kids would like to call dusty. He is dusty AF, as the kids would specifically like to call. Hello, fellow kids. It's just weird to hear me say stuff like this from the host chair now. But anyway, we've got Luis Heel there. My dude at 9K. He's coming off of a abysmal run. There is no doubt about it. Can't really justify it, but 9 and 7 strikeouts now the last 2. Only 1 earned in the last 2. So it's not as bad as we had for the 7 earned against Baltimore, 5 earned against the Mets, 4 earned against Cincinnati. And the xFIP was up there, you know, in a pretty unattainable type of, I think it was pretty clear cut. I mean, he's still got a 4.05 xFIP. There is definitely downside there. 3.35 expected ERA, though, looks pretty nifty to me. I just see the strikeout stuff, and it's too appealing for me on this specific slate, knowing that whatever happens with Sale is going to happen. I understand the Mets aren't the best matchup in the entire world, but you look at the individual batters there, with Nimmo batting second, 25.3% K rate. JD Martinez, 27.7%. Mark Ventos, 24.2%. It's not as bad as what it's been in other iterations of this Mets lineup. Luis Heel's the guy that I've gotten 35% of my lineups. Good luck to me, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd counter all that with they're a better lineup. They're a better iteration of this lineup than we've seen in years past.
No doubt.
They're all just kind of performing as they should be. Nimmo to the highest level of that, probably over his head right now, but it is what it is. But on this slate, I don't hate it. Like, I think he belongs in the Gilbert, Wheeler bucket, where all these guys have upside, but they come with question marks. A little bit surprised that he's coming in with the same ownership as Gilbert, but Gilbert's 10K. So then again, it's not that surprising. Yeah, it kind of stinks about Sale, but I think all these guys are viable to play with Sale if Sale's good to go, or to pivot from if Sale is not good to go. So yeah, I don't love any of them like I do Sale, but they're all very high upside pitchers.
Yeah, extremely high upside. I mean, Zach Wheeler, I'm going to have a little bit of 19.4%. He's the next guy in terms of top 2 percentage. I think the upside is definitely immense for him. Garrett Crochet, depending on the workload, I'd be surprised if he ended up getting up to around 19-20% based on the last time out, but I don't really know how you don't look at a matchup against Texas where they just haven't been the same kind of offense this season, no doubt about it. So for me, I'm okay with it. 96 WRC plus against Southpaws now on the season. Maybe get into a little bit, but Logan Gilbert, if Chris Sale becomes unavailable, I'm going to just global swap everything to Logan Gilbert, and I'll figure it out as the night progresses. But Luis Heel, I'm pre-baking into those lineups so that I don't really have to think about it. That does start at 7:05 p.m. Eastern time. We got Chris Raptor saying Matthew sounds sad. No, he's so happy to be doing a show with me that he's fighting back tears. I think that's exactly what's going down, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely not sad. Just finally getting a breath away from my 2-year-old who's causing havoc downstairs. So happy about that.
I was on a show with Eitan yesterday where his son bashed his phone with a hammer.
Yeah, I mean, boys are girls are way softer than boys, so none of that, but it's a whole different type of drama with girls.
Yeah, I will say, there's definitely, it feels like watching Talladega Nights where the kids running around, anarchy, anarchy. And it's just like, what does that even mean? I don't know, but it sounds important.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
It's that old, was not Old Spice, the Charles Barkley. I don't know, but it's provocative.
I don't know. Yeah, it's good stuff, but also good stuff. No ownership coming into the entire 8K range. 7K, we do have a couple of guys that are pulling some. Jose Soriano, he has a knuckle curve that is a really, really good pitch. He has 3 other really, really bad pitches that have been getting hit up a lot more. So there is that. You've got Mr. John Gray, it's flat 7K. He gets the White Sox matchup, which is always an enticing one. We're talking about the league worst offense against right-handed pitching, 74 WRC plus, 24% K rate. Makes complete sense, but it's also John Gray, who hasn't exactly been a strikeout artist in his post-Colorado days. So it's tough for me at Mega Chalk to want to be investing too much down there. I do have some interest in a guy that we'll get to in the doldrums, that's for sure. But how are you feeling about the 7-8K range? Because I'm pretty light on everybody.
Yeah, John Gray, like I get the ownership because he's only 7K. But there's real concerns about like how deep he's going to go in this game. You know, they used him out of the bullpen last time out. Now, again, they did that earlier in the season too. Maybe just instead of throwing the bullpen, they did that. But his underlying numbers aren't even that good anyways. As you mentioned, under a 20% K rate and chalky. I'm good on that. Yeah, the one guy that's hard for me not to like here, even getting the same ownership as Gray, is Jose Soriano. Insert pitcher, especially right-hander against Seattle. I mean, I'm one of those slower people to buy into that all year. And it's just, I mean, a phenomenal spot every time, in and out. No Julio Rodriguez. He just got placed on the IL like literally a couple minutes ago. So yeah, I think Soriano is much more in play for me now than he was before, because I do like the pairing of Sale and Gilbert, but getting off Sale, still not sure I want to spend up on Wheeler with Soriano in such a good spot. Great pitching ballpark, great matchup for strikeouts. I mean, there's a lot to like about Soriano. He's not an amazing pitcher by any means, but I think he serves the purpose for DFS purposes.
I would agree with that. He serves the purposes for DFS purposes, and he does have a primary pitch that I do think induces a lot of swing and miss. You brought it up. Julio Rodriguez, the most dangerous hitter, I think, in that lineup on a year in, year out basis. This year, probably Cal Raleigh, which is insane to say, but that is just kind of, it's been a quote unquote down year by his standards, or by the standards of a franchise player for Julio Rodriguez, and the Mariners keep winning baseball games anyway. So that's pretty wild, other than yesterday when I bet the Angels. That felt good.
And I'll say this about Julio, I know, just to cut you off real quick. He was hitting into some real bad luck this year.
Yeah.
Still hitting the ball very hard, and he runs a lot. So, like, it's good that for a pitcher that he's not in the lineup. I know that he wasn't having the best year, but your point is just well taken, that this lineup is not good. You know, Raleigh is probably their best guy this year.
I'm going to actually show this message. Nicholas Robertson, if you don't like knack, suck my knack sack. I don't know why you would say it like that, but I mean, there's other ways of potentially phrasing things. It's actually not London Knack for me in this spot. He has a knack for getting hit up and giving up the long ball. I'll be here all day. Actually, I'll be here for another 33 minutes, and then I'm going to disappear into the abyss. But London Knack, not going to be somebody that I really get to. I actually have a lot of interest in San Francisco on the other side of this game, so we will get to that. I'm really not getting to anything. I have a little bit of Jose Barrios. He is by far my least favorite guy to roster on planet Earth, but 8,100 gets Tampa Bay, which can be a decent enough strikeout matchup, 6.7%. And if we do end up losing out on Chris Sale, I think he's one of the guys that I'd look at in hindsight and I'd say, oh, I should have had a little bit more of Jose Barrios at 7%, because you can't go back in time and reverse engineer your lineups to get more of a guy who locks in that early session. So for me, Jose Barrios, I might end up giving a little bit of a boost to get to more of, but Soriano, I definitely think he's secure. He's in that latest game. We can kind of make adjustments as we need to. Jake Bloss not really playing any ownership against Oakland. I thought that was a little bit surprising because we've just seen insert pitcher against Oakland. Same thing. Oakland's been better. They're about league average against righties, but it's kind of weird to not see Jake Bloss pulling any ownership. Doesn't mean I'm going to be jamming him, but I at least have 5% of him. Anything else in the 7-8K range to gloss over before we move on?
As crazy as it is, like Oakland's a much lower floor matchup than Seattle right now. I mean, they're just a better lineup. Like so Oakland is. Seattle has a much stronger pitching staff, but I mean, Seattle's lineup came out as we were speaking on them. It's not good. Josh Rojas leading off, Robles hitting second, Cal Raleigh, Polanco, Luke Raley, Tyler Locklear, and Vossler hitting 6th and 7th, Dylan Moore and Cade Marlowe 8 and 9. It's not good. That said, I do think there's like one-off potential in this lineup. We'll get to that when we talk stacks. Vossler with 20 home runs so far in the minors this year, and he's 2,800, but we'll get there.
Yeah, Vossler might be somebody to talk about here for sure on the bottom half of that lineup. Plays pretty neutral still for home runs in Seattle, even though it's the best pitcher's park over a 3-year rolling average over in the old baseball savant. But let's get to the doldrums, shall we? Because this is where I will talk about Cooper Criswell. And I'm not going to lie, the Sims tool definitely is on board with this take, and I am very much here for it. It's a $5,800 pitcher getting to go up against Colorado, and I don't think it was something that we had a chance to talk about yesterday because the lineup came out a little bit later, but we ended up not getting Ryan McMahon, who's going to be out for a second straight game, and Chris Bryant is batting 5th. This is just a strikeout lineup here in the middle of this thing. Charlie Blackmon, Ezekiel Tovar, Brendan Rodgers batting 3rd, Brenton Doyle 4th, Chris Bryant 5th, Elias Diaz, Jake Cave, Michael Toglia, and Aaron Schunk. I still don't know who that is, so that's cool. I think this is a guy in Cooper Criswell who's got better stuff than has shown up. He's gotten a little bit unlucky this season. 3.68 expected ERA, 4.50 actual ERA. Is he going to have some world-beating K rate? No, but at 20.2%, I get that it's Coors Field. I get that it's scary, but I have 30% of Cooper Criswell at 4.4% right now. Talk me out of it. Please save me.
Man, I can't really. I don't know. He looks good in the top pitcher tool, relatively speaking. He's so cheap. If this matchup weren't in Colorado, he'd be like the most popular pitcher on the slate. It is in Colorado, but yeah, I just think there's too much point per dollar upside on a slate with expensive bats and not good expensive pitching options to not at least look his way. I know I'm considering him for sure.
Sunflower. Doyle doesn't K a lot. He literally has a 25% K rate, 24.8%. What are we doing here? What, you can just say random stuff, but it doesn't make it true, buddy. Just thought I'd point that out. That's not a thing you can actually do. I know that it's politics and everything in November. Woo, you can say whatever you want. It's fun. It's fun. We're all having fun, right? Anyway, we'll talk about Bet365 here in a second. Anything else for pitching for you, Matt Belman, in a swing state up there in Ohio?
No. No, nothing else from pitching for me.
Sounds great. Bet365 it is, friends. We've got a great offer going in Pennsylvania. Yes, Pennsylvania just got Bet365 added to the program, added to the fray, not the band, to the, you know what I'm saying. Anyway, Pennsylvania, you bet $5. You just simply go to the link below. You bet $5 or the link that Jordan Klein is going to provide here in chat. And you're going to get yourself $150 in bonus bets when you do. You're also going to get 50 spins of the old slot wheels. Yes, the virtual slots over there on Bet365. So bet 5, take $5, turn it into a bunch of free shots at extra money. Seems like to me you can sign for that again down at the link below in chat as well. In a bunch of other states, Arizona, Iowa, been there for a while, New Jersey, but Pennsylvania, if you're specifically, congratulations, you just got that 365 in your state. Only if you're 21 and over. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Alrighty, y'all, we continue on our merry way. Anything else from pitching that you wanted to cover there? We'll jump over to the FanDuel side of things right now.
What was your exposure to Sorry?
Oh,
can you hear me?
Yep, I got you. Soriano.
All right, cool. Yeah, what was your exposure to Soriano like?
26%.
Okay, yeah, so you're definitely getting.
And that's my top 150. I'm gonna only play 20 lineups today, so just full disclosure. But my top 150 is in 26% of them. He is in 15% of my top 20. 3 of 20. Yep. Is that somebody that you're looking at for like your big lineups? So if you're playing one lineup tonight, which 2 pitchers are you rolling with, assuming that Chris Sale's off the board?
Yeah, I'm only playing 2 lineups tonight, and I was definitely planning on using Sale in both. And don't feel great about any other options. There are good pitchers on this slate, just like no other Chris Sales, especially in the spot that he was in. So Gilbert, I like a lot. Wheeler. The 4 guys I'm considering right now are Gilbert, Wheeler, Soriano, and Criswell. Yeah, I think that's the foursome that I'm ultimately going to land on, some sort of combination between the 2 lineups I make.
I'm going to probably be going in my one lineup, assuming that Sale ends up getting removed before first pitch. I'm going to go Gilbert, and I think for cash, you're looking at just playing Soriano next to it. God, this is so tough. It's just such a tough slate. I mean, it's especially tough over on FanDuel as we jump over there, where it's a single pitcher site, and you got Chris Sale, who could just be unowned in a spot like this. I mean, this could just be the absolute stone cold nuts if things play out a certain way here. But I think for DK, I'll go Gilbert, Soriano, and just take the safety of it for the time being. And then Cooper Criswell, if I'm playing one tournament lineup, I just think that that's a guy that has a lot more upside. And on a slate like this where you can save some money and get to some of the more expensive offenses, I think that has a ton of utility, especially with the team that he's got behind him in the Boston Red Sox. I think we might want to roster some of them.
Yeah. I think I like Criswell more than Soriano, especially at the ownership discount. I hate playing Soriano when he's popular. Like, he's a guy I've played a lot this year, but I just don't like to play him when he's really popular.
I'm literally, my brain is hurting reading the chat right now, so I'm going to stop doing it. Love smashing on Belman on those single entries. Ooh, we're getting some single entries. Yeah, no, Belman's about as good as it gets when it comes to that, so definitely take his advice. For me, yeah, Criswell going to probably end up being the dude, but probably would not end up being the dude. Let's jump over to the FanDuel side of things and give people some information over there. I built out some lineups before this show. Obviously, they had Chris Sale in them, and obviously Chris Sale was the guy that I wanted to play an absolute metric ton of, but he's still 11-2 up there. It's not like he's free by any means. And then we're going to be paying attention to that weather. I said it sucks that it has to be the conversation of the day, but it is so unbelievably important on a day like this that you are watching it, because 25% of the field could just be dead at the flip if something ends up happening for the most expensive pitcher on the board there. Like Logan Gilbert there at 7.4% for 400 less. Garrett Crochet, there's obviously the pitch count concerns. So at about comparable ownership, I'll take Logan Gilbert with the quality start bonus for sure there. And Luis Heel, 9,800. You're getting a little bit of a discount relative to those top tier guys, but I'm not really looking to go too cheap, I think, on FanDuel today playing one lineup. You do have Cooper Criswell down there at 6,800. Jose Soriano, I don't completely hate at 8,100, but who's your favorite pitcher on FanDuel for one lineup?
Man, good question. I don't really love anyone, but if forced to answer, I'll say Gilbert.
Okay.
I think Gilbert is a little bit more preferred than Wheeler, and he's getting less ownership. So give me Gilbert.
Yeah, I think Gilbert probably the one guy that I'd be looking at on FanDuel where I just see comparable ownership to Heel, comparable ownership to Soriano. And it's like, I feel so much better about Logan Gilbert and his chances of success there. And Garrett Crochet, if it were a different pitch count situation, I mean, it might be something where Garrett Crochet sitting there at 2% and you get 5, maybe on a good day, 6 innings there and 80 pitches, and he just mows dudes down. But I don't think that's somebody that you end up having to for sure get to. Yeah, I feel pretty good about Logan Gilbert over there. Shall we jump over to the lineup generator as we end up moving to stacks, Matt Belman?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's see what pops up here. Do we want to go? How do we want to put the settings in here? I think putting in balance sounds about right today. Chalky, balance, contrarian. Maybe contrarian just to try to avoid all the Chris Sale, even though I have a feeling Chris Sale is going to show up in everything no matter what.
I would tend to agree with that as well.
Yeah, 23 and change projection. I think that's going to end up happening. We can skip out anything there. No locking players. If we could anti-lock a player here at the moment, I might be going to do that. But let's run these and save 20 and see what we end up firing up in that. You guys, you can sign up for the lineup generator. A great opportunity to check out our data without having to purchase the Sims tool right from the get-go. But again, the Sims tool is great, and it is what it is for a reason. So you want to be signing up for that as well if you're playing baseball on a day in, day out basis here over at Stochastic. Great side-by-side companion here on these shows. But I want to see exactly what we're popping up here. We've got, Connor Wong just popping up in everything. It looks like Red Sox. I want you to know it, more Red Sox, Matt Belman. How are you feeling about the chalkiest offense on the slate today?
Yeah, I mean, a lot to like. They're in cores against Ty Block.
Yeah.
I hate using the Red Sox as chalk against lefties because a lot of their guys are going to get pinch hit for, or at least have the risk of it. We saw it last night, even though a bunch of them did well. You know, my favorite guys from the Red Sox are going to be the expensive guys. I know that would be everyone's answer, but they're hard to get to, especially someone like Devers, lefty on lefty. I like him a lot. Yeah, Boston looks great here. I'm not sure exactly what their ownership is going to be in like high dollar single entry stuff because the field's sharp. Like Westbrook wasn't that high owned in the 254 entry max last night because people know the pinch hit risk. So maybe, those, I'm not sure where ownership's going to land because the guys you want are really expensive. Do you think that they're going to be higher than the 11% we're projecting in like smaller field stuff?
I'm not positive. I'm with you where the back half of the lineup, some of the guys to get you salary savings have some pinch hit risk, whether that's Jamie Westbrook, Rami Gonzalez, where you could see Dom Smith coming in for either one of them. And then Rami can slide over to short, and they have Jaime, who, generally, or Jamie ends up playing the second base there mostly. But considering Duran, Devers, and Yoshida are both lefties, and there's no way that they're coming out. And then Ref Snyder, who's just been good all season long. Connor Wong, great catching option, hitting over 300, doing all of the things correct there. And Tyler O'Neill for power. I think the top 6 are pretty secure, where there's no pinch hitting risk going their direction. 7, 8, 9 do, but I mean, they're also the 7, 8, 9 hitters where you're going to sprinkle them in no matter what, regardless of that. I think if you're playing one lineup, you could probably just talk me into avoiding the Red Sox entirely in single entry. But I think building out for large field, I'm just going to run it without much concern for the pinch hit risk, purely because I'm going to be more concentrated 1 through 6. And I don't think anybody there is getting pinch hit for.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, Devers, Duran, O'Neill, Yoshida obviously is starting. Wong, no. And I can't even remember. And Ref Schneider, he did last night, so he'd be the only guy in that top 6 I'd be worried about.
Ref Snyder did get pinch hit for yesterday?
Pretty sure. Yes, he did.
Okay. Yeah. So he's been so good against lefties that you want to slot him up there, have him bat second right from the get-go. But yeah, Dom Smith probably going to show up at some point in time. Plus, there's only one lefty in this pen for Colorado. So yeah, 7 through 9 definitely has it. If you're building out one lineup, that's something to keep in mind. 4K for a 7-hole hitter, 4.6K for an 8-hole hitter, 3K for a 9-hole hitter there. And Jamie Westbrook, that's a little bit more feasible for me. But Just something to keep track of, but I'm building a bunch of lineups. I'm most of the time here today, I'm just playing 20. So probably not going to have much concern for it today, but other days, maybe I would give them a little bit of a down boost and just be more concentrated 1 through 6. And with Ref Snyder, probably guaranteed 2, maybe 3 at bats, I'd still be okay with just jamming that no matter what. But anything else
he's hitting
that's standing?
second, and it's not like the Colorado bullpen's good. And if they get to block badly, they might not even pitch it for those guys. So I'm totally with you.
5 implied run total here for the New York Yankees. They're their second most popular stack, followed by Colorado, Toronto, Kansas City, Houston. Looks pretty similar to yesterday, minus the fact that the Yankees, welcome, Yankees win, or, potentially lose to the Mets again. But Luis Heel, I like him a lot here. Jahmai Jones up there, 2.6K, second base outfield. Where did we end up getting his exposure? Because he's not even in those top tier of guys. We got Judge, we've got JD Davis batting fourth out of the middle of absolutely nowhere. You want to talk about pinch hit risk at 3.2K? I think JD Davis does, considering Ben Rice exists, but that's a conversation for later. How do you feel about the Yankees being our second most popular stack?
Yeah, I like the Yankees here. Not gonna lie. I don't like the ownership, but the ownership isn't concerning either. A lot of that's gonna come to like Judge and Jahmai Jones up top. And those guys are obviously good plays. Judge because it's Judge, Jones because he's so cheap leading off. He also has pinch hit risk, but leading off at 2,600 against Quintana. Quintana, is someone I've picked on. He was the most popular pitcher on the last that he was on before the All-Star break. That was that Sunday crazy slate. I stacked the Rockies against him. Toglia hit 3 home runs. Tovar hit 2 home runs. Rockies went nuts. Unfortunately, Lawrence Butler surpassed all of them, even Toglia's 3 home runs. And I, of course, used Butler, but not in my Toglia lineup. So it was a wash, if nothing else. But I'm going to go right back to picking on Quintana. His underlying numbers aren't very good. It's a bad stadium downgrade for him as far as home runs go. I like the Yankees a lot here. Yeah, I think Davis is probably the most likely to get pitch hit for, but I still think he's fine at 3,200 hitting cleanup because wouldn't be surprised at all if there comes a situation in the first inning where both Soto and Judge walk and you get 2 runners on with 1 out or bases loaded, no outs in the first inning. Like, yeah, he'll probably strike out, but at least you have that hope before he strikes out that he's up with runners on. And I'm not afraid of Quintana at all. So I like the Yankees quite a bit here.
Yeah, I do too. I think that they're cheap, especially 1 hole, 4 hole. Just talked about him, Davis and Jones. You got the upside that's just absolutely nuclear, what we're seeing from Juan Soto, Aaron Judge this season. I mean, it's just an unfair 1-2 punch, or should I say 2-3 punch? No? Okay. Yeah.
Crazy, what was it? Oh, yeah. 2K catcher also, and Carlos Narvaez making his major league debut.
Is he related to Omar Narvaez? That'd make me happy.
I assumed so when I saw it, but I mean, I have no idea.
Somebody in chat will let us know. But anyway, 2K flat for a catcher there. Yeah, there's some cheapies. There's some expensive guys. You're going to get to some pieces there for sure. But let's jump over to FanDuel here too. Very curious to see where our pitching exposure goes here on this side of things. Because right now, as it stands, we're going with Chris Sale until we're told otherwise. I want to see this game go to a late start so we can all sweat extra hard. That'll be an enjoyable experience. But we have Jacob Dunn also asking $2 super chat, best 2 cheapo pitchers with which best 2 team stack. So are we looking at FanDuel, or I want to know that one here as we start building out these FanDuel lineups first. Yeah, let's jump over and do that here as I look at, did you throw those up, Jordan Klein? Yeah, FanDuel? Yeah, let's do FanDuel here quick if we could. I was reading that off so that I could get an answer from him, either DraftKings or FanDuel, while we're doing the building in between. Keeps the show a-moving, just keeping things moving. Here is the host, first time in a long time, long time caller, first time listener. Here we are. I said that backwards on purpose. It's funny. We've got a lot of Red Sox showing up here at the top. Again, Aaron Judge, he's always a popular one off over on FanDuel.com. Vladdy Guerrero, George Springer, some Toronto Blue Jays showing up here in the midst. And wouldn't you know it, that's one of my favorite stacks that exists here on today's slate. But are they somebody that you're getting to on DK in addition to we are getting to them in the old lineup generator on FanDuel today?
Who'd you say again? Sorry.
Toronto Blue Jays.
No, not a team I'm going to get to. They look like they're the most overowned team on the slate in my eyes. I get it. Alexander wasn't good before he got hurt. They're, I'm not afraid of this Tampa Bay pitching staff. It's not that. It's just the ownership is already there. And Toronto is not really a team I want to play when they're chalky like this. It's not like great hitting park. I mean, Toronto's not bad, don't get me wrong, but when you've got really hot weather in a lot of cities, it takes Toronto down a notch. So, yeah, I'm personally not on it, but most of that is just because of ownership, to be quite honest.
That's fair. I think there's individual hitters as you're looking at like Vladdy and George Springer over on FanDuel. Spencer Horwitz, somebody that no matter which site you're playing on, I think he's somebody that from the left side we can get to. Dalton Varsho, 3.7K on DK. A number of those Toronto bats, but just getting to a lot more of them, it would look like over on FanDuel than we are on DK. And then Kansas City's starting to show up too. Kansas City going up against Jordan Montgomery, who's been broken up to this point. And I don't know if you know this, Matt Belman. Bobby Witt Jr. is good at baseball.
That he is. Slate breaking, Bobby Witt. Clearly monster game last night. He's got 3 hits in like 4 straight games. So he's breaking slates and breaking hearts at the same time. Not much else to say. He's arguably the top overall hitter on the slate. I wouldn't fault you if he was your number 1 guy, even over guys like Judge, Ohtani. Now, Witt hasn't been running as much lately, but Montgomery's a guy that is horrendous at keeping runners on. So really a high upside spot for Witt here. I like this whole Royals lineup. Even like Garrett Hampson leading off, if he gets on, he's going to run. So like, I don't love the idea of playing him, but all he has to do is get a walk and he's got a quick 7 in my eyes. So I like the entire Kansas City lineup.
Gabriel Moreno is one of the best catchers at holding runners though in baseball. That's what kind of gets me worried.
That's fair.
He's got a 90th percentile pop-up time, 89th percentile caught stealing above average. We're talking he is in the top 11% of all of baseball. Not many catchers. I mean, 60 catchers. He's top 5, it would be in baseball this season at caught stealings, at preventing base runners. So Gabriel Moreno, really good at that. But I'm with you. Jordan Montgomery back in his Cardinals days, he was a free pass.
Yeah, I mean, even so far this year. So yeah, I mean, I don't like that about Moreno, but I still think they're going to run because they're going to be running on Montgomery, not Moreno. But I'm with you. Doesn't make me like them anymore. So good point.
Yeah, well, it was just like devil's advocate because I'm with you. I like a number of Kansas City players, and I think that there's a lot of ways for them to get there here. Arizona's bullpen does not impress me all that much either. Let's see. Anything else there? Oh, Jacob Dunn. DK was where his question was from, so that ended up being a perfect use of our time there. He wants to know the best cheapo pitchers, 2 cheapo pitchers, and which best 2-team stack. So I'll give him the let me give him the 3 side of things. I will take the layup, and I will just go Boston with the 3-man and the expensive 3-man, if you will, like O'Neill, Devers, Wong. And then I will take Cooper Criswell. I'll take the cheapie at 5,800. I don't know if the Red Sox get crazy popular relative to what they should be, considering the stack score is outrageous. Maybe in single entry, they still get nuked out of this world, but I feel okay about it. What is the 5-man you want to roll out there for our guy?
So I like the Yankees. Damn, there's a bunch of good teams on this slate. Man, I also like Houston a lot. I'm going to say the Yankees, though. They're my favorite stack on the board.
Okay. Going up against Jose Quintana, who is lucky beyond lucky. Fire that up. And then your favorite cheapie pitcher to pair with it.
It's got to be Criswell.
Oh, let's go. We're both on the Criswell train. Good luck to us. If you're looking for Soriano, Criswell, I think that that's a good combination if you wanted to get two of those. Thank you for the super chat. Tampa thoughts. People want to know Tampa Bay. How do we feel about Tampa Bay here up against Toronto? Up north there, eh? Jose Barrios, I think sucks. I hate him. I think he's overrated, but this is a Tampa Bay lineup that has like Richie Palacios leading off and Isaac Paredes and Brandon Lowe and Randy Arozarena, who's starting to show up, which is nice for him. Something that could have been brought to his attention yesterday. But how you feeling about the Rays whatsoever?
I don't love them, but I don't hate them either.
Okay.
Like they're just a their stack for me. I think they're getting a little bit too much ownership, but it's not like they're going to be highly owned. So I wouldn't not play them because of the ownership. Barrios isn't good. I don't think he's awful either. I'm pretty meh on Tampa here. If I were playing a lot of lineups, I'd have some, but in minimal lineups, I don't think I'd get there. But I won't be shocked if they end up breaking the slate because Barrios isn't very good, and Tampa's lineup looks like it's starting to get it together a little bit.
A lot of people asking, is Atlanta, Cincinnati, or Rain out? Let's revisit this one before we talk about our favorite stacks. Give you our home run plays, and then we're going to get the heck up out of here. I'll be in the premium Discord stopping by. Obviously, Stochastic as well. If you guys are looking for the all-access pass, $399.99 for that right now. You can sign up for that over at the site, stochastic.com. In chat as well, there's a nice, lovely link for you in the video description box below that you can be signing up for. Get lovely stuff here. Data-only package also available if you're looking for the top pitchers tool, top stacks tool in addition. So tons of great stuff here at Stochastic. What we're presenting you with right now, though, DraftKings.com, top stacks tool. I think it's just showing Boston, New York, definitely two stacks you want to be getting to, but we've covered a number of other teams just intermittently. I want to ask you, though, Matt, you're playing a number of lineups here. Any other stacks that we haven't discussed that are making the cut for you today? Because I have a number of them.
Yeah, I'm only playing two lineups, and the other lineup that I like a lot that I think is going to be very low owned is Houston.
Ooh.
Yeah, Osvaldo Bido isn't very good, and he's not going to pitch a ton, but presuming they get to him, and then whoever comes out of the Oakland pen, it's no one good after that. I always love flipping the script here. Last night, I played a little bit of Hogan Harris. Houston was popular. Tonight, Houston's not going to be popular at all. They're in a better spot in my eyes. So I like Houston. I don't love the bottom of the lineup, but they're cheap. Top of the lineup, though, Altuve, Bregman, Jordan, Yainer Diaz, Singleton at 2,900. Yeah, good with all of them.
We still don't have any late start update or anything showing up from Atlanta. So as it stands right now, man, I think this is probably going to be the way that I attack this. A number of people asking me about pick six as well, because that's obviously something that I play a lot and talk through a lot over on the interwebs. I'm going to be looking at less than 1.5 earned runs, but I'm also going to be looking at under 7.5 strikeouts for Chris Sale. Know the rules of your books, know what is peer-to-peer, what isn't, but for like peer-to-peer games, I think today, shorting Chris Sale is probably going to be the way I go about things. I think I'm going to take him out of my main lineup for tonight as well. It freaks me out. It sucks. I don't want to do it, but I think I have to do it here at this point in time. Now, if the ownership shows up and he's 10, 15% of this game starts clean, I'm going to be really, really mad at myself, but still think he has the ownership coming in on him. I'm going to hit eject on it in my main lineup. Are you planning to do the same thing, Matt?
Yeah, I'm not going to play it. And last night I played the Twins Phillies game to my own peril, even though there was weather concerns, but the weather concerns here look a lot more dubious. Yeah, I can't do it. I'm not going to play Sale tonight. Man, I liked Atlanta a little bit too, even if not the full stack. Like Nacho Alvarez was maybe my favorite hitter on the slate. And there's a bunch of 2K hitters, but he's good. Like it's one thing to have Garrett Hampson leading off at whatever, 2,700, and he's a good play because he's leading off, but he's not good. Nacho Alvarez is very good, projects to be good, and he's 2K hitting second. So he was like my favorite hitter on the slate. Sale, obviously my favorite pitcher. Pairing those two together kind of just made things work, but I'm not going to play it because the weather concerns look too real. If that like backs off in the next 20 minutes, half hour, I'll be more than fine going back to Sale and Alvarez.
Yeah, it's a bummer. It's a huge bummer. Obviously, we've got what, 17, 18 minutes until this slate locks. We're going to be I'll be in the premium Discord for sure talking through that one. And we'll see kind of how things pan out with it. But pay close attention to your phones. This is going to be like an NBA live before lock to some extent, where you just need to be paying very close attention to the phone because this is the most popular play on the slate if everything plays clean. And it's the guy you want 0% of if it doesn't. So that's going to be a very huge part of this slate. Wanted to go back to that here as we round out our favorite stacks. A couple of them that I'm getting to. I like San Francisco against Landon Knack, somebody that has a pretty high home run to fly ball ratio, somebody that I think isn't exactly a proven quantity here at the big league level. Up to this point, I'm happy to fire up some San Francisco at super low ownership going up against them. I also think Kansas City against Jordan Montgomery. He's shown us absolutely nothing this season, which is sad because, well, I thought he'd be a good fit on a number of teams at the deadline last season. Arizona obviously ends up being pretty functional for him, but not this season. It's been brutality. And then how about Milwaukee and Chicago? This game is probably the other one with weather that you need to be paying attention to. They have some rain that looks like it's just going to be around the entire game here, but if it plays clean, Jameson Taillon, Colin Ray. I mean, these guys, they have just been so damn lucky. Winds blowing out in Chicago hasn't come to fruition the way that it had in previous iterations of Wrigley Field with wind blowing out. Like, it hasn't been on steroids so far this season, but I'm willing to take that at super low ownership or lower ownership than we would have if there wasn't Coors Field on the slate. Anything else that you really want to talk to the people if they're playing larger fields? Any other teams that you would be looking at for those?
Again, I like Houston. I do think that in large field, Boston is the team to get to. I think the ownership won't be out of hand there, and they're obviously the top stack on the slate. Just a little bit worried about ownership in smaller field stuff, but plenty of good stacks to get to. A team like Philly, I've picked on Simeon Woods Richardson a lot, way more than I should have because he's not horrible, but he's not good either. And like Philly is very good. So Philly can make anyone pay. But like, I don't think he's bad enough where I want to sell my soul and pay those price tags. But a lot of that on this slate with a bunch of good offenses because the pitching up top is good and then it falls off a cliff pretty drastically.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does in some spots. Oh boy, I'm nervous about this the same way you guys are, but we're gonna get ourselves going here in a short second. But first, Matt Belman, the time that everybody wants to know. Who is going yard tonight for your lineups, or from a betting perspective, anything? Who is going Yahtzee this evening?
I am going to go with Jason Vossler out of the 7-hole for Seattle. Going yard. 20 bombs already this season in the minor leagues. Soriano going to be owned. Give me Vossler against him.
I mean, it's going to be hard to. I mean, I did bet 2,000+ plays today. Spencer Horwitz was one of them. So want to at least throw that out here for the people to begin with. The other one already locked here. Angel Martinez was the other guy that I was looking at. But let's go to somebody a little bit on the more likely side of things. Although I haven't even looked at what are Jason Vossler's odds out there today.
No idea. No idea. Probably very low.
Yeah, I'll take a look at that here in a second, but let's just go to Bobby Witt Jr. I mean, the guy is on another planet right now. I'm not a big hot streaks person, but you go like 31 for your last 60, you hit over 500 for any stretch of a mountable time, what, 15 days or so, those plate appearances or those last 10 games. He's just been on another stratosphere, and I think this is a good spot. Jordan Montgomery's not really shown us anything. Wind's blowing out ever so slightly, but 85, decent humidity in Kansas City like you normally run into on July 23rd this time of year. Give me the low-hanging fruit. Bobby Witt Jr. goes yard. We're looking here in the chat. Let's see what we got. Alex Bregman from Blake Moore. Santander. That doesn't really help the people, does it? John Gray. He's going to actually be pulling some ownership. I don't completely hate that one, if we're going to be honest. Let me go through. See,
I just spoke bad about it, but I don't hate Simeon Woods Richardson.
He's trolling me because they're in the early game here. So did he already go yard? Is that why he's making that joke? Maybe not. Anyway, Yoshida, Braves delayed. Holy crap. Okay. Is that official? Did that come through? Reds, Braves will be delayed due to inclement weather.
I'm off it.
So you're off it?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Man, I just got to ask you about this. You're a hometown guy. I know I just talked trash about him, but I don't think Simeon Woods Richardson is a crazy play on this slate. I don't want to play him, but he's so cheap and they're expensive bats to get to. Like,
I mean,
I
he's
don't
more
know.
interesting now. He's more interesting now with no Sale. Like, Sale was like, can't miss, have to play a large allotment. And now I think everybody's going to be hitting eject the way that I'm hitting eject and that you hit eject already. So I'll probably get to a little Simeon Woods Richardson. Philadelphia, really, really freaky. Talked about him yesterday. Bryce Harper goes, yeah, at 10% ownership. I was a little surprised to see him as owned as what he was. And then everybody else on the team
Philly
not
yesterday.
owned. That was wild. But the Sims tool had me get to a lot, so I was happy with it. Pretty St. Patrick Bailey. Brandon Lowe, 3-run bomb in the first. We're calling exacta home runs. Go cash that one. That's fun. Brent Rooker, I'm sad at after yesterday. Let's see what else we got. Hunter Renfroe, I don't completely hate that one. Malakar, would you go with? Santander? It's okay. You're appreciated. He's off his game. That's all right. Who did Jordan Klein end up going with? Did you even put something in the chat, Jordan Klein, or are you trying to avoid me? You sure is. Say a Suzuki. Just say yeah, Suzuki. Let's go. Yeah. That's all I got. I'm Eric Lindquist. You can follow me at Eric Lindquist over on X. That is Fantasy Tips Matt Belman. You can follow him over there on X at the aforementioned name. Any final words for the people as we get out of here?
No final words. Fun slate, a little bit less fun with no Sale, but who knows? Maybe this was the spot that Sale was going to get blown up anyways. So like maybe we avoided something bad happening. You never know. I mean, you always have to look at things. I know there's that old story, but you always got to look at things on the bright side.
No, you don't. You can be pissed off. This game starts at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to be fucking pissed. Anyway, Jordan Klein, how we doing, my dude? Yeah, it's going to be disturbing, and I'm going to be so mad. Thank you so much, everybody. Let's get ourselves the heck up out of here. Thank you for everybody watching on playback. Check out Bet365 as well, now available in Pennsylvania. Bet 5, get 150, only if you're 21 and over. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Back to the show. Oh, yeah, we're done. Let's get out of here. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one.